Frog wakes up. Sun is shining. Mud is warm. Frog thinks today is a perfect day to be alive. Why? Because frog loves worms. Every single frog in the great green swamp wants to have a big, fat, juicy pile of pink worms. Life is incredibly easy and good when you have many worms. You could buy the best, most premium crunchy flies. You could buy a shiny new bicycle. You could buy a massive lily pad with a private water view. Worms are everything. Worms are power. Worms are the global currency of the swamp. But as we already know, life is never completely perfect, because from the deep, dark bushes, a shadow appears. It is the government frog. He wears a very tight, very uncomfortable black business suit and a tiny red tie. His face never smiles. His eyes are always watching, scanning, looking for your hard work. Government frog wants to share your happiness. When a normal, honest, hardworking frog goes into the mud, digs all day, and earns 10 beautiful pink worms, the government frog appears out of nowhere with his brown leather briefcase. Slap! He takes 3 worms immediately. No questions asked. No merci. This is for the swamp roads, Gerald, he says. Then he walks away. Frog is sad. Frog sits in the mud with only 7 worms. Life is not as good anymore. This is the sad reality of taxes. But wait, what about the ultra-rich frogs? What about the elite, the top 1%, the massive billionaire frogs who don't just have 10 worms, but have literal millions of pink worms? Let's look at Billionaire frog. Billionaire frog is very fat, very plump, and he sits on a literal mountain of thousands and thousands of tiny pink worms. He wears a tall, fancy black top hat and a shiny golden monocle over his left eye. His mouth is a very proud, very smug straight line. Billionaire frog does the math. If the government frog comes with his briefcase and takes 30% of 1,000,000 worms, that is 300,000 worms gone forever. That is a catastrophic amount of protein lost. Billionaire frog refuses to let this happen. His fat green hands shake just thinking about it. So what does a billionaire frog do? Does he hide his millions of worms under his mattress? No, of course not. Hiding worms under a mattress is for poor, amateur frogs. If you put 1,000,000 worms under a mattress, the mattress becomes too lumpy and the government frog's elite police team will smell the worms from a mile away. That is a rookie mistake. Instead, Billionaire frog does what every smart, rich amphibian does. He spends a few worms to hire a very smart, very sneaky, very quiet accountant frog. The accountant frog is thin, has a very serious face, and wears giant, oversized round reading glasses that make his eyes look huge. The accountant frog looks at the massive mountain of worms, adjusts his big glasses, and whispers a secret plan into Billionaire frog's ear. Sir, the accountant frog says, your worms are not safe in this swamp. The air is too toxic with taxes. We need to take these millions of worms on a wonderful tropical vacation. Billionaire frog smiles a giant, greedy smile. Tell me more, you beautiful nerdy frog, he whispers back. The accountant frog points his tiny green finger toward the great blue ocean. Welcome to the tax haven. Far away, across the deep water, there's a tiny, beautiful, isolated tropical swamp. It is a magical paradise. On this tropical island, there's a beautiful golden sun, a single perfect green palm tree, and most importantly, there is absolutely no government frog. No suches, no cheese, no briefcases. The laws on this island are designed by rich frogs, for rich frogs. The rules are incredibly friendly to foreign, outside worms. If you bring your worms here, nobody asks where they came from, and nobody takes a single bite out of them. But Billionaire frog cannot just put 1,000,000 worms on a boat and sail away. That would look too suspicious. The government frog would see him at the docks and say, hey, where are you going with that giant pile of protein? Pay me 30% right now. So, the sneaky accountant frog creates a magical illusion. He creates a secret shell company. What is a shell company? It is a fake business that exists only on a piece of paper. On paper, this business is called the Global Supreme Dynamic Worm Logistics Corporation. It sounds very professional, very important, and very complex. But in reality, this multi-million-dollar company is just an empty, dusty cardboard box sitting on a rusty table in a tiny shack on the tropical island. It does absolutely nothing. It buys nothing, it sells nothing, it has 0 employees. But the accountant frog is not finished. He makes the trap even more confusing. This fake cardboard box company is owned by another fake company in a different swamp across the world. And that second fake company is officially owned by a very slow, very old turtle who lives on a rock and doesn't even know what a worm is. The turtle just signed a paper because someone gave him a piece of lettuce. It is a giant, confusing maze of paper and lies. Now the magic trick happens. Billionaire Frog officially transfers all his millions of pink worms into the empty cardboard box on the tropical island. On paper, Billionaire Frog doesn't own the worms anymore. The box owns the worms. The next day, the government frog arrives at Billionaire Frog's luxury mansion. He opens his briefcase, pulls out his official pen, looks at his tax documents, and says, "Hello, Billionaire Frog. It is tax day. Give me my 300,000 worms." But Billionaire Frog looks completely innocent. His monocle is gone. His eyes are wide and round. His mouth is a perfect, clueless straight line. What worms? Billionaire Frog stutters. "I don't have any worms, officer. I am just a poor, simple frog who happens to wear a giant black top hat." "Look at my pockets." Billionaire Frog pulls his green pants pockets inside out. Absolutely nothing falls out. He takes off his top hat and shakes it upside down. Empty. Government Frog is confused. He adjusts his glasses. He looks at his official papers. He looks at the empty pockets. He sighs a very deep, frustrated sigh. On paper, everything looks completely legal. The Billionaire Frog is technically broke in this swamp. All his wealth belongs to a box, which belongs to a box, which belongs to a turtle across the ocean. Government Frog cannot touch the tropical island because he has no power there. So, the Government Frog closes his briefcase with a loud click, turns around, and leaves with absolutely 0 worms. As soon as the Government Frog walks into the bushes, Billionaire Frog's innocent face disappears. His huge, smug smirk comes back. His monocle snaps back onto his eye. He laughs a loud, rich frog laugh. "Gerald, pack my bags," he shouts to the accountant. The next scene shows a beautiful white airplane flying high in the blue sky. Inside the cockpit window, we see the tiny green head of the Billionaire Frog, still wearing his black top hat. He is flying away from the land of high taxes. A few hours later, Billionaire Frog is sitting on a red beach chair under the palm tree on the tropical island tax haven. He is drinking a delicious fly juice cocktail from a coconut with a tiny pink straw. Next to him is his massive cardboard box, completely overflowing with millions of safe, happy, juicy pink worms. Life is spectacular. Is this fair? Well, if you ask the normal, hard-working frogs who are sweating in the mud all day, they will look at you with angry, frustrated faces and say, "This is illegal. This is total cheating. We work hard and pay our worms. Why don't they?" But if you ask the Billionaire Frog, he will take a sip of his cocktail, wink through his golden monocle, and say, "It's not illegal, my poor friend. It's completely legal. It's just highly advanced, supreme business optimization. Don't hate the player, hate the swamp." The problem is when every big billionaire frog hides their millions of worms on tropical islands, the home swamp loses almost all of its funding. And when there are no worms to pay for the society, things start to go very wrong. Look at the main mud road of the swamp. It is covered in massive, dangerous potholes. A simple frog driving his cartoon car hits a hole, his wool flies off, and the car flips into the water. The public lily pads are rotting and sinking. The frog schools have no roofs, and the tadpoles are getting rained on while trying to learn how to swim. The swamp police don't even have shoes anymore. The entire frog society is slowly falling apart and turning into total chaos just because the richest frogs refuse to share their protein. Now you understand the dark, sneaky world of tax havens and shell companies. You know exactly how the ultra-rich play a multi-million worm game of hide and seek with the global economy. Frog's big brain. And as always, remember the ancient law of the swamp. frogs together strong. If you want to learn more secrets about hidden worms, swamp wealth, and how to stop the government frog from snatching your hard-earned protein, make sure to smash that subscribe button and check out these other highly educational videos. See you in the mud, big brain frogs.